Good afternoon, everybody. This is Mr. Varon, also known as Dr. DIT. I'm using this video as a beginner's guide to holding sticks. Anybody can see these videos because I will not be using the students themselves, and so it'll be an open video. Some students have, and some people have been telling me that they've been curious about maybe signing up their child for lessons or maybe even themselves, and this will help you understand about the basics of sticks, how to hold them namely. So Vic Firth, as you can see, is the brand that I use more than any. There are different kinds like Vader and ProMark and others, but I prefer and always recommend Vic Firth as a beginner. So the first part of the stick is called the tip. Every single stick has these parts of the stick. Second kind, or second part, is the shoulder, as you can see right there. Then the length of the stick is called the shaft. The shaft of the stick, the entire length. And finally, at the end, you have the end of the stick, or the proper term is actually called the butt of the stick. So those are all 4 parts of the stick. And you're going to see me use reference to the flag that the Vic Firth stick has frequently throughout this video. So first off, we'll talk about the bouncing point. And if you go from the bottom and go all the way up into where the flag is, that's a good point to where the bouncing point of the stick is. If you just let it drop, if you hang it from your finger, it gets the most bounce. And every stick is different, but most of the time, a third of the way. Now, if you hold it up too high, then it's going to be dead just like that. And if you hold it too low, it's just going to be dead as well. You're not going to get a lot of bounce, and so you're going to have to be working harder than normal or harder than necessary. So about 1/3 of this way of the stick is ideal for that bouncing point. Now, how to hold the stick. Get your thumb and get the middle of the thumb. I call the fat part of the thumb should be on the fat part of the stick, right at that bouncing point. And so the middle of your thumb on the middle of the stick, and then you put your first knuckle of your index finger and curl it, and that's called your fulcrum. That's where all of your power and control comes from. Then wrap your fingers around to where it's cradling the stick. All fingers should be touching the stick. Now, the way that you use your wrist to play is just your wrist, and that's it. No arm, no shoulders. And it's like you're knocking on a door. That's what I always tell beginners. It's like you're knocking on a door. And so you're going to be using that. And in lessons, I actually use the stick on the student's wrist so that they can feel what part of their body should and should not be moving. It's just a good reference point for them. Now, as far as the 3 grips, you have French grip, which is your thumb, which is directly up. American grip is where your thumb is diagonal, and German grip is where your thumb is to the side. German grip is the grip that I teach beginners. All beginners learn German grip, and match grip is where both of your hands do the same thing. So you're using both hands to do the same thing. Now, traditional grip is a more advanced technique where your left hand is inverted and you're turning just like this, side to side. I will not be using that for beginners. That is more of an advanced technique, and so we use match grip. Now, you do not want to see a gap between your thumb and first finger. That's not what you want. We always want to do something that I call filling in the gap. And so your thumb and your first finger should be touching each other, and the thumb and first knuckle, or last knuckle rather, should be meeting each other as far as the distance or length. You also don't want to point down the stick with your index finger. That's very common with beginners. You want to actually hold the stick and curl that finger around just like so. And that is, again, going to ensure that that thumb and knuckle meet. So that is what you want to do with the grip with that. Now, as far as what you look for, both thumbs should be looking at each other, the top of your hand should be looking at the ceiling, and all the gaps are filled. So I hope this helps, and happy practicing.